Going on, everyone? Look what I got today. Got another new toy. It'll actually probably be for a friend of mine, but I'm going to do a review for him. Just make sure everything's healthy. What do I know about this truck? It's a 2008 Ram 2500 HD with the Cummins in it and the G56 manual transmission. Previous owner has got aftermarket headlights in it. This nice ranch hand front bumper with a receiver hitch. I believe it's leveled. I don't believe it's lifted, but it is definitely taller than stock. Excuse me. Got XD series wheels with BF Goodrich mud terrains. Got iron cross assist steps on it, and he threw ladder bars on it. It's got aftermarket tail lights on it, and he actually threw a Blue Tech diesel badge on there, which is interesting because Blue Tech is actually Mercedes' brand, but hey, whatever. Did have a gooseneck in there. There's the ball, but it ain't all beat up. Obviously got it from Woodhouse, which is all right. Woodhouse are good people. It's got a 5-inch exhaust in it, which I'll go underneath the truck here in just a second. But she is clean. I mean, I'm actually really impressed. The guy took really good care of it. And the only reason that I know he got rid of the thing was because he just had a knee injury, and because he allegedly has about a 650-700 horsepower tune on this truck, with the aftermarket clutch that's in this is really stiff, so it makes it pretty uncomfortable to shift. I mean, it's tight already from when I drove it over here, but if I had to have knee surgery on my left knee, which would be your clutch leg, obviously, would make it pretty uncomfortable to drive, which is a shame because this is a very nice truck, very well taken care of. I drove it over, obviously, to my house. Everything shifts right, it's nice and tight. Interior's in great shape. The seat's not all ate up. There's a little bit of wear in the foam rubber here. But usually I see these, and this is all chewed up for people sliding their ass across the seat, you know, in and out, and not using the steps. And these look like, you know, Cujo takes a chunk out of them, which is not a huge deal. I mean, you can get them fixed. It's just, you know, pain to get that done. Go ahead and pop the hood so we can take a look at the goods here in just a second. Same thing with the interior here. I have to call the customer back here in a little bit. He obviously left a debit card in here, fell between the seats. For privacy's sake, I will not film that, but edit that part out. But you get the picture. Got under seat storage, which is really cool to have in these. He's got that over there in the seat right there. That's where the programmer is. Doesn't have a sunroof, but I can dig it. And it does have the sliding rear window, which is cool. She's got 89,129 miles on it as she sits, which is freaking cool for an 08, you know, low miles. It's got a trailer brake. Yeah, not bad. Guy didn't smoke. Oh, and he's got these gauges here. He's got a exhaust gas temperature as well as boost. And when I was driving it home yesterday, she was running about 10-15 pounds of boost the whole time. So that was actually pretty cool. All right. This bumper makes it a little difficult and interesting to reach down there. All right, let's see what we got. And this, when I brought it home last night, it was nighttime, so I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to find in here. So bear with me while I climb my fat ass up here without falling and breaking my neck. Okay. This ranch hand bumper makes it easy to sit up here. Okay. What do we got? Battery's a little crusty, but not too bad. He's got the EGR blocked, and for those, like Rush Limbaugh says, for those of you in Rio Linda, that means exhaust gas recirculation, which is one of the EPA things that they've done to these medium-duty diesel trucks to recirculate exhaust gas back into the intake right there. That's the plate. I guess, you know, somebody at the EPA thinks it's better for our diesels to be breathing hot, sooty exhaust than clean air. I guess the gist behind that is it produces less nitrous oxide, but, you know, what do I know? So, the EGR cooler itself, interestingly enough, is still on the truck. I'm not sure what his plans were, whether he was going to throw it back on in case he was going to, you know, go to California or whatever, but who gives a shit. That is known scientifically as the big honkin' air filter. And the air throttle, because these, they did do that on those, is unplugged. There'd be additional hardware right here, but that is unplugged and removed, or at least, no, the throttle's still there, excuse me, but the wiring is unplugged, which I'm assuming with the tuner that he said he allegedly has on this, it's been programmed out because there was no check engine codes on the truck when I drove it home. All right. Moving over here to the passenger side of the engine. Stock turbo, which is all right. The turbos in these actually are more than capable of handling, you know, the horsepower that the average bearer will need. I mean, all right, check it out, guys. If you're going to take one of these trucks and you're going to turn it into a sled puller or a drag truck, and you need to put, you know, Mondo turbos on, you know, to each their own. However, it's kind of like, you know, the 600 horsepower Z06 Corvette. Interestingly enough, the people that buy that are retired older guys like my dad's age or whatever, and they're going to drive the damn thing to the country club and show it off. They're never going to use that thing to its full potential. But hey, you know, it's your vehicle, you do what you want. But the stock turbo, it does have, if you look down in there, it does have aftermarket exhaust from the downpipe back. So that's the back of the turbo, right there. So that guy right there, it is all aftermarket exhaust, which is totally cool. All right, I'm gonna go start this thing up real quick to see if there's any blow-by. Stand by, I'll be right back. Okay, so back in the truck here. Sorry for the little pause there, but, you know, climbing my big self up and down on that bumper. A lot of grunting and nobody needs to hear that. Okay. Every single manual, including my own, for some reason this gets turned around at some point. So if you're a total noob at driving it, you're like, fifth is down here. No. Reverse is actually all the way over. You'll actually feel it like a little wall, for lack of a better way to explain it. And then it pushes over right there and down. That's reverse. Anyways, neutral. It's about 8 degrees out here in central Iowa, so let the glow plug cycle for a minute. This will be a true cold start because I did not plug it in. Like a kitten. Alright, so now that she's running, and I gotta climb my fat ass back up on this bumper again. Alright, so check for some blow-by here. There's none. That's awesome. That's awesome. A little worried about how dark that clutch fluid is. Oh, look at that. The master cylinder is held on with a single zip tie. That's interesting. I'll throw another one on before I get going anywhere. That's the clutch master cylinder right there, guys. It's supposed to be screwed in. Just held down with the zip tie. I'll have to fix that. That's no big deal. Things that make you go, Alright. Let's take a look underneath, see what's going on. Go ahead and shut this thing off so I don't have to yell over all you. Yeah. Get out of there. Shut up. All right. let's take a look underneath and see what's going on here. Okay. Relatively clean. You know, a little, and I mean a little, especially for an Iowa truck, just a little tiny bit of surface corrosion, but nothing that can't be fixed. What I'd do personally is I'd take this thing down and have this thing re-undercoated. A little bit more, right about meow. But again, I just have this thing undercoated and throw a final coat on there, which will prevent this thing from getting much worse, because I have honestly seen far worse. I mean, the rockers here, there's a little bit there, but this is just surface from where the spray gets on it. So I'd hit this thing with an angle grinder, throw some some silver Rust-Oleum paint on it, and call her a day. Let me scooch up a little further. This truck, being a crew cab long box, is a mile long, so okay. Looks like we got a little bit of a fluid leak here. Where's that coming from? Pardon me here, guys. A little bit of a fluid leak. Where the f is that coming from? Interesting. Well, that's the tail housing of the transmission. Man, these freaking G56 transmissions are huge. It goes. There's a transfer case there. Just a wetness. I mean, what really is and isn't a leak these days? I mean, people see this and like, oh, my truck's got a leak, I'm gonna bring it in to the mechanic and get it fixed. No. Under warranty, they'd see that and they'd tell you to get the hell on. They're not gonna fix that. This is a seep. They may retorque those bolts right there, but that's all you're gonna get out of them. You hit it with some brake cleaner and tell you to keep an eye on it. Looks like there's a little surface corrosion there on that body mount. If this was my personal truck, I'd go ahead and replace that body mount right there. I'm going to assume they're all like that, but hey, if this truck is an 08, it's been on Iowa roads for 10 years, if that's the worst you got to deal with, that ain't shit. Okay. There's the bottom of the oil pan, and the driver's side of the engine, there's a starter. She is dry as a bone, guys. This truck's actually in really good shape. I actually see fresh grease right there, so it's been serviced. I gotta hand it to old boy. He took good care of his truck. Brake lines are in good shape. So yeah, call my big old self out from underneath the truck. I'm actually pretty impressed. You know, like I said, I've seen newer trucks in worse condition. So, guy took really good care of it. But, anyways, I was gonna open up the passenger side, take a look at the passenger seat here. It does have heated mirrors. That's good. All right, well, and the passenger side seat is actually in just as good, if not the same shape as the driver's seat. Foam rubber right here is in better shape, but it's not torn or ripped. So, anyways, so that's my review. I'm gonna go take this bad boy for a drive, bring it down to my buddy, then get his truck and bring it up here and work on it. He's got a coolant leak. He's got an old square body 76 or 77 Silverado with a 400 small block in it, and you know, being an older car with carburetor and stuff like that. Not a whole lot of people know how to work on it, but I do, so I'm going to do it for them. Anyways, questions or comments, guys, throw them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day. What's going on, everyone? I wanted to do a follow-up video from my previous one. Unfortunately, bad news time. Got it out here on the freeway to go through all the gears, get everything warmed up, and 4th to 5th synchro is bad. That sucks because everything else in this truck is really nice and in good working order. So what I mean by that is, as you're going through the gears, the the ratio speeds of your input shaft and your counter shaft and your output shaft are spinning at different speeds. So in order to synchronize those so that you can make a shift without grinding gears, there's a brass synchro gear between the gear sets on both sides. Hello, Speed Demon. And I'm going 70, so he must be going about 85, 90, but oh well. Anyways, and the synchronization gear between 4th to 5th is bad. So regardless of how hard or how soft I am into the shift, unfortunately what's going on is it grinds, which means that the synchronization gear is not doing its job, so that the grinding is either on the synchro from the shift fork, or it's on the synchro from when the gears go to mesh. Either way, it's not good. What I would do if this was my personal truck is I would drop the transmission fluid and stick a magnet on there to make sure I don't have any metal. Brass is not ferrous. And as Rush Limbaugh says, again, for those of you in Rio Lindo, that means there is no iron in it. So the brass will not stick to a magnet. However, if there is iron, which that would be then from the gears, that would give you an even more indication as to how healthy the transmission is. But anyways, unfortunately, the costs to do that are pretty high, depending on who you are. Quick Google search, you're looking at anywhere between, say, $2,000 to $3,000 in parts and labor to drop the transmission out of the truck, take it apart, which requires special tools, to get everything else out of there, and then replace the 4th to 5th gear synchronization set. Now, being this truck has about 90,000 miles on it, and according to the previous owner, he's got one of those, Mac Daddy diesel tunes in here that's 600 something horsepower, allegedly. I would want the whole damn thing done. If it were mine, if I were buying it, I would say, you know what, you already got to be that deep in it. Let's go ahead and replace all the synchro gears, because I would just assume that if one's bad, the others are not too far behind it. It's on borrowed time. So let's just go ahead and bite that bullet once and get it done. Spend $2-3 grand or so and get it done, and have it done right, and also done with parts that can handle the higher horsepower, so that way I'm not having to come right back in this thing. And what I mean by other parts, you turn a truck up this much on a manual, your clutch and your synchros are the slip points. If you have those things beefed up, then the next weakest link is going to become your input, intermediate, and output shafts. And I have seen input shafts sheared clean off on a manual truck on your high horsepower, high torque applications like a sled puller or a drag truck. I have seen it. It's not pretty, but that's what happens. Something's got to break, something's got to give. You got a 1200 torque, and who knows how much horsepower. Something's going to break, so that's usually where they break. Anyways, back to the synchros. 4th to 5th is going to need to be replaced. If you're quick, it's just a little quick grind, but it is grinding, so that will need to be replaced. The other problem is, who knows how much of that fluid is now contaminated with kibbles and bits. So if it were me, if I were buying it, I would see if I could negotiate that into the price of the vehicle. Says, look, man, I'm looking at $2 to $3 grand to tear this thing down and get that fixed at a minimum. Can we meet in the middle somewhere on that? $1,200-$1,500, something like that. I don't know. That's what I would do if it were mine. Now, my opinion alone, because this is not a tier 4, tier 5 emissions truck, whatever the current emissions level is, it requires the DEF. It is a DPF truck, which has been removed, so that's not legal, but whatever. Because of that, I would want to know if anything else was wrong in the transmission. But because of the fact that this is such a nice vehicle, relatively speaking, for its age, I would buy it. If it were me, I would buy it, and I would see if I could negotiate something in the middle to get that that transmission issue taken care of. Not asking the people that are selling it to fix it for me, but say, hey, you know, she's hurt. It's what's going to cost. Can we meet somewhere reasonable and get this taken care of? Because I would buy this truck because it's not a current emission level truck, which does not need DEF. Everything else is nice, and it's a manual. You know, I'm not necessarily want to be disrespectful to Mopar, but their automatic transmissions in the Dodges, they suck. I've worked on enough to qualify myself to say that. Manuals are a different story. Usually the weak point's the clutch. You know, you throw a little bit better clutch on there, and they'll go 250,000 miles plus, no problems, depending on your maintenance. But anyways, I'm coming up to the end of the trail here, so I wanted to throw a follow-up video on. If you have any questions or comments, throw it in the comment section below. I'll get to them. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.